You're on.
Thank you. Like to call this meeting to order. Do we have a roll call, please?
Yep, Jack Sapia.
Here.
Devin Woodward. And Katie.
Excused.
Yep, Mark Sherwood.
Here.
Shauna Manthorn.
Here.
Marianne Springer. Here. And Sean O'Neill.
Alyssa will be late. Paul's excused. Thank you very much. Pledge, please. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Excuse me.
I understand we have a bit of a student, staff, and family share. I smelled something in the atmosphere. Would anybody like to come forward and tell me what that was?
It's okay.
Principal Bennett's come and introduce.
Students come up in a moment, so you can ask them some tough questions. We had an awesome TRMS versus School Board Cooking Champions cook-off just recently. And just to give you some quick background is that earlier today, Ms. Chuljan, who's here as well, you can ask her some questions, she'll love that. And she found me in the afternoon, was like, hey, cooking competition today, and of course I remembered, never forget anything. You're gonna be one of the judges, of course, and as happens in Timberlane, though, you walk down the hallway, I walk in to see Mr. Pedersen, I said, hey, look, I found another judge, no problem. Mr. Zanello heard there was food in the area, and Mr. Zanello, hashtag deaning it, he jumped on the scene to help us out, and I say Timberlane Day because I needed help in the moment, and people just jumped right in to help us out, be judges. No pressure between the school board and the students, right? But the students did a tremendous job. I'd recommend asking them a couple light questions. I promise they'd be nice, easy ones. School board members coming into school and cooking with the students. And I say with, there's a sense of it being against, but it turned out to really being with them, which was awesome to see. We had family support. Students and their parents came to watch the action, family members, and then helped clean up after the event was over. Amazing. I do think the judging was as fair as it could be in that situation. We don't want to make any enemies. And none of it would have been possible if it wasn't for, I think it was a year ago, Ms. Chuljan, our FACS teacher, said, hey, Mitch, what do you think about having a cooking team? Which we had never had before, at least that I was aware of. So the whole thing is totally her fault that this has all come to fruition. Now we have a cooking team and the expectation continues to grow. So just want to set that stage. Also, we did bring the trophy. It was a split decision, but we wanted to let the school board hang on to it for just a moment to soak it up. That was a thing. I don't know where to put it. I might put it up front there. And then I guess I'd end
You just
with-
need it every other Thursday.
Yeah, every other Thursday. I'd also advise for any superintendent really that the students did something very magical. I shared with them before I left, which was for any superintendent to know that it's a real amazing feat when students can bring school board members together to work in such a cohesive environment like that. Like that's really where the magic was in today's event. So I do appreciate you guys coming down and helping us out. Students, if you could come up, introduce yourselves, and maybe just a couple light questions. And Ms. Chuljan, I know you want to come up here too. So, Chuljan, who again started the entire activity and club.
Thank you
Welcome.
so much.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Hi, my name is Amber,
I'm Haley.
and we are the Timberlane cooking team.
Undisputed to somewhat disputed champions at this stage. What would you say?
Undisputed.
So what did you guys make?
So we made a pork filled gyoza, which was like fried and steamed over like white rice.
With a edamame salad and a dressing on top. And a gochujang aioli.
Whose idea was that?
We kind of all like together made
We
it.
took one part, we did each part separately and then build the plate together.
Now, did you have time to practice this particular recipe a couple times, or so you did?
Yes.
Were you pleased with this evening's results? Was that representative of where your skill level is?
I would say pretty much.
Yes, pretty much, but we were missing one of our teammates.
Yes.
Okay. A missing ingredient, but you still pulled it off.
And you're missing a teammate this evening too that wasn't available to come here,
Yes,
so
yes.
Karsten.
No.
Who was that?
Apart from Carson, we had another teammate that wasn't able to come today.
Got it. But Carson's not, he was there at the competition, but not here right now at the meeting. So I wanted to shout him out too, because he was great.
Understood. What is it, if you don't mind me asking, that you enjoyed most about it? Was it the prep work, or was it the ability to do some trash talking during the cooking?
I would say it was like a really good opportunity to like all work together to make something and end up like winning with it. That was really cool.
Yes, and I think the competitions are so fun because it's like what I watch in my shows. It's like almost feels like MasterChef.
Yeah. Would any of the school board members who participated and tried to keep up like to comment?
I'll say it was great working with you and your team. I mean, it was delightful. And it's so encouraging to see. I mean, middle schoolers cooking. I look back when I was your age. I mean, people didn't know how to boil water, kind of stuff. I mean, it's sad, but it's nice to see that you guys. And it's not just like self-prepared stuff, like easy nuking it kind of stuff. It's real food. That was good, and it was also good that the three of us worked in a small kitchen. We're relatively small, but they got different units the way that it's set on up. And I will say is I've actually reached out on mine myself. Instead of just dirtying one kitchen, I could dirty multiple kitchens simultaneously. Because I was looking for stuff and we're over there and rated. So I apologize if things are going to be all over the place. Probably tomorrow you'll be reorganizing things, but it was a good experience and very impressed with everybody, and look forward to doing this again sometime down the road.
I had no idea what to expect. I really didn't. You guys did such an incredible job. Not only was the food, the presentation was incredible, the food was really good, but most of all, you guys were so articulate and so professional. It was really, really nice to see what's going on down there. Sarah, you had to listen to me for the first half hour. Thank you very much. I know that's painful, but you bared through it. And I cannot get over how meticulous everything was in those drawers. I opened up like Sean will tell you, I brought a huge bucket container, not knowing what was gonna be there and not there. I opened up the pantry and I'm like, oh my God, it was like I'm watching, Guy Fieri's, kitchen thing. And it was great. Now, I do have to notify the school board that for a couple points, I promised Dean his own TV station. And I did promise Mark Pedersen he'll never have to come in here for a first or second read on anything ever again. So, but no, it was fun. It was fun working with my teammates. It was just a fun event. So thank you very much, ladies. Thank you.
I got to come watch the cooking team in action last year when they brought a dish to the school board. So when Mrs. Children kind of connected with me about doing the competition, I was like, this is a great idea. And then this, I'm sure people out in the audience and people in this room can relate, this is May-tember for schedules and things. And so I really couldn't commit. So when I reached out to my teammates and I'm like, y'all gotta plan and organize and I'm just gonna show up in sous chef, which I did. And after that adventure with my teammates, which was fun, I still chose to eat their food because I was just wildly impressed with the question that one of the judges asked them about their inspiration for the dish and the Asian thinking and the centralization of the ingredients that you used. And that just shows so much organization and time management and commitment to your craft. And no matter what you choose to do outside of cooking in your life, those skills are gonna go with you wherever life takes you. And I'm wildly impressed. And thank you for the honor of cooking in the same kitchen as both of you. Champions.
Please.
So I'm glad to see, Mrs. Children, that you're maintaining your standard of excellence. When I first arrived here, we had just renovated your kitchen, I believe. And the kitchen, we were behind schedule, very behind schedule. And with Steve Paradise and his wife and yourself, I think you spent 3 nights, maybe 48 hours consistently cleaning, putting things back, and being ready for children to instruct on the first day of school. And I was extraordinarily impressed then, and I continue to be impressed.
If I just throw out a plug to Dunk's Mushrooms, who supplied the mushrooms for this event. And I I always wanna, acknowledge Bill for his donations and support of this event, and I thought maybe he was gonna try to show on up and, maybe other things, got in his way, but big plug out to him. So if you ever need any exotic mushrooms, Dunk's on 125 up in Brentwood.
Thank you very much. The takeaway is everybody's impressed. You should be impressed with yourselves and proud. And thank you, Ms. Chuljan, for setting this up, for doing it. Something you don't have to do, but you do. You never know what ripples they're going to be. My last and only piece of advice would be do an inventory of what's there and what's left. Jack seemed to be very envious. So you guys may want to do a thorough inventory.
That was a big box that he brought on out. There was a body in there.
Could you help me solve something for myself? I don't know exactly how to pronounce it, but I know it's one of my favorite foods. I love making it and I love getting it at restaurants. The soft dumplings that are not fried but that are steamed. How do you pronounce the name? Because I've gotten mixed messages.
Like a bao?
Not a bao bun. I think you did.
No, what you just said.
Yes,
G.
it was your dish
Gyoza.
tonight. Say that again.
Gyoza.
Gyoza. It's not goiza. It's not gyoza. I'm serious. I ask people when I go to restaurants and I get different answers depending on what restaurant, and I want to know what it is. And I think you said it with confidence.
Yeah.
So I think that you're right.
Well, you can't tell from the waiter looking at it like they're tilting their head like.
Well, I don't think anyone knows, but I think they know.
I hope that's reflected in your grade.
Thank you for that clarification.
Thank you very much again. We appreciate the opportunity to work with you. I wasn't able to, unfortunately, but I heard from these guys and actually smelled the flavors when Jack got out of his car. Thank you. Thank you for what you do and what you bring to the community.
Thank you.
Okay. We have some.
Take the trophy.
Yeah, take the trophy.
hold on to it. It was a tie.
We don't have a house for it, so we're
We
willing to.
promised Mitch.
We're gonna have a shelf up there soon.
We're gonna share
I
custody.
heard you don't have a house and now we're having a shelf.
Shared
so-
custody. You can have it
Messaging.
first.
It'll be a line in next year's budget.
I'll get it back next time. This will make people
No,
feel
no,
good.
not near me. I drop everything.
Mitch, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mitch.
Has everybody had a chance to review the meeting minutes from 5/7?
I'll make a motion to approve the May 7th meeting minutes.
Thank you very much.
Second that.
Jack seconds. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? 2 abstentions. Excellent. We have some non-public.
Too far away.
I'll make a motion to approve the non-public May 7th, 2026.
I'll make that motion.
Someone care to second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? 0 abstentions. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, next on the current business, we have the K through 12 math competency.
Delegates.
Delegates and individual, thank you. Do we have any delegates and individuals? Let's move
Make a
those.
motion to move the remaining minutes for delegates and individuals to the end of the meeting.
Second.
All those in favor?
Rusty, aren't we?
Abstentions? The specs don't help either, sir.
600.
It'll be a hard grab on that one.
And next, I think we have the Assistant Superintendent, Mrs. Allaire, to talk to us about the K through 12 math revisions. Second.
Sure, I'm happy to do that. Mr. Patterson is also here, but I hear he got points for voting in a certain manner.
Yeah, I hear the scales have shifted.
That's fine. There are no additional changes since the first read when Mr. Patterson presented the math competencies at our last meeting. We were happy to answer any questions you may have.
No changes. Any questions?
I'll make a motion moving forward. Second read.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Could I clarify?
Yes, please.
Motion to move forward to approve?
Yeah.
This is the second read.
This is,
Second read and adoption.
Second read and approve.
so motion to approve the second read and adoption of the revisions for the K through 12 math competencies is what you said.
Sure. Can I borrow your glasses?
And I still second all that.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? None. Unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And next we have multi-age classroom experience is Mrs. Kanotis and Mrs. Rivers. Now you can cut it out.
All right. So, back in the winter, I was here talking with the board, about our plan to host multi-age classrooms for early childhood. So this is combining preschool and pre-K into, one program, Next Stage. Kim and I are here tonight to just give a little more information about the work that has happened since January when we started sharing this information. So teachers are looking at 3-year-olds, they're looking at 4-year-olds, and they're thinking about how they are different and how they are the same. And so teachers are building on what they know about young children's development in order to move all students forward. We have a quick video here to show you. This is how we rolled it out to all of the teachers as well, and provided this information on to families who requested it. Our primary focus is really to prepare students for their K-12 career. So in early childhood, we have students with us and we want them to be ready to learn going into kindergarten, and that is our primary focus. Let's see if this, hold on. Thank you. You gotta hold on.
Oh, so I just.
Science tells us that brains, minds, are built, not born. And at the center of this dynamic architecture are a set of skills called executive function and self-regulation.
Children's self-regulation and executive function are key ingredients in their lifetime performance. It's not just about learning language or learning numbers or learning colors.
We have to be able to work effectively with others, with distractions, with multiple demands. These actually are skills that contribute to the productivity of the American workforce.
Just look at your shapes. What should you have done next?
Educators, I think, are looking for just this sort of thing. And when we describe what we mean by executive function, they say, yes, that's it. That's exactly, the problem. These kids, they can tell me these rules, but they can't actually use them.
What's this? A toolbox.
A toolbox.
What is executive function?
Safety goggles. Probably the best way to think about it is sort of like an air traffic control system in the brain. Just like an air traffic control system has to manage lots of airplanes going on lots of runways and really exquisite timing and so on. A child has to manage a lot of information and avoid distractions. We really think of it as involving working memory and inhibitory control and mental flexibility. Take a situation where a child is having to take turns. So first of all, the child has to have inhibitory control. The child has to be able to stop whatever he or she is doing and let the other child take a turn. But when it's your turn again, you also have to remember what it is you're supposed to be doing. So that pulls on working memory. If the children who are taking the turns after you do something unpredictable, you have to be able to adjust what you're going to do next. And that requires mental flexibility. Children who are struggling with these capacities often look like children who just aren't paying attention, or children who are deliberately not controlling themselves.
If you don't have self-regulation, you act out and the teacher puts you in timeout, and so then you miss part of the learning that's going on, and then you are more upset because you're behind, and so you act out, and so you get this downward spiral.
How does executive function develop?
7 and plus 4.
In little children, and even in the infant and toddler years, you begin to see the roots of executive functioning skills. What's going on in our brains is unbelievably intricate and complicated.
The prefrontal cortex, or the front third of the brain, is important for executive function. But it's more than just prefrontal cortex. This region doesn't act alone. It's involved in controlling your behavior through its interactions with all other parts of the brain. The brain goes from a situation where you've got nearest neurons communicating very strongly with each other and ignoring the rest of the brain, to these widespread networks that are connecting these different areas. Executive function changes over the life course. It improves radically over the first few years.
I got a match drive.
It continues to improve throughout adolescence. It's not until early adulthood that you have the adult type networks that are very strongly activated that connect different brain regions together.
Let's take notes.
Also, we believe that executive functions can be trained.
It's just like going to the gym. So the more you practice in these areas, the stronger the capacity is likely to become, because you're hoping to strengthen those neural connections.
Mom, you're at 24.
Slowly but surely, you're going to be able to step back, and that child's going to go into the world with these skills where they can get along with other people, change rules, and they can be flexible, and they can accomplish new things, and they're unafraid.
I got bit by my dog in my arm. Oh dear.
If we don't learn these skills during the childhood and adolescent years when they're coming online, we are really ill-equipped as an adult to hold a job, to maintain a marriage, to raise children, to get along with each other, to basically be part of a civil society.
You're okay.
Fire moved to multi-age. After you watch that. One of the reasons is we want to start thinking about students on a continuum, an age continuum. So not having like 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds, but really we have an age range of, students who are coming in at 36 months all the way up to, 60 months. And we may have some kids who are very precocious and may have, a chronological age of 36 months, so say 3 years, and they know all of their letters and numbers already, yet they don't know how to, take turns or how to pause in order to get somebody else, their turn to speak. Or we may have students who are coming in at 4 years old who may have all of those kind of executive functioning skills that we would expect at a developmental age, but they're working on their letters and numbers still, and really, that's okay. We really want to take the focus off of, I think, what we traditionally think of as academic skills, the ABCs and the 1, 2, 3s, and shift to these developmentally appropriate skills. And I really like that video. I feel like I've watched it maybe 5 or 6 times now, and it captivates me the whole time because it just presents how important these skills are, I think, at a really easy to understand kind of in bite-sized pieces. And we're also looking at we can have students who are a little bit older, can be role models for some of the younger students as well. Which I didn't use all the big words that are up there, but I said.
It's okay, 'cause now I can't get it to advance.
I could sing if I needed.
We have experienced that before. I'm so glad it's not just me.
But see, right now, think of all the flexibility that we're doing, and we all know that Dean is here to help us, and we can wait and we can regulate, and we know that it's gonna, you know, it's gonna be okay. Thank you.
Can't stand that thing.
Yep, thank you. Yeah, yep.
We'll check. There we go.
Okay, now it's gonna work. Again, I feel like this always happens to me when I give presentations, I talk about things and then I come on the slides that we already, you know, talked about. And yeah, I think I already talked about this one.
Yeah, so I
Agree?
think the second bullet there really just highlights part of why we're part of what the research says about the benefit of multi-age is that younger students, right, have those older peer models, and that those older models can really help be leaders in the classroom, and so we're able to develop those strengths as well. So as we thought about multi-age classrooms, we realized that it gives additional positive impact to the district. That is that we've been able to increase access to students to their home school at an earlier age. We've been able to provide more opportunities in the home schools as we increase these programs, and that over time is going to decrease the amount of transitions that students make. Some students go to TLC when they're 3 in that first year, and then have to transition to a new school for age 4. Some kids are transitioning at age 5, but by making this move, we can have students in our building starting at age 3 who aren't leaving until they end their 5th grade career.
If I can add on to that, I had a meeting this afternoon with a parent whose child has just started with us this year, probably around January, has come in for one of our play groups, and their child's going to be transitioning to Danville, and they wanted to have a meeting to meet some of the team members there. And we had Cassie Alder, the facilitator, was there, and I was able to say to the parents, like, although we are going to miss having your child in the building, like your child and you are going to be at this building at Danville when your child is 3 all the way up until grade 5. And Cassie, as a special ed facilitator, is going to be your contact for all of those years. She was like, wow, like that's pretty awesome. So I think just that connection and that community piece is, I don't think we can underestimate just the positivity of that.
So very quickly, we're going to flash through just a couple of pictures about a day in the life of an early childhood learner. These are things that are happening in our classrooms right now. Thinking schedule-wise, right, the day really looks similar to what it looks like now. We're arriving, we're doing some tabletop activities. Students and teachers have morning meeting where they come together in the circle and they do those things that are off to the side. There's story time, there's gross motor activities. We can't forget we stop for snack because it's a very important time of the day. We have learning centers and guided play. They have a goodbye circle, and then they're off in their dismissal to home.
Yeah, and this is actually a resource that just came to us. Shauna had met with the early childhood team on our early release last week, right? Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, the time goes by very quickly. And I think was able to conceptualize what the team already knew kind of about this developmental piece and really showing them that, you know what, we need all of those pieces in the bottom of that pyramid to be developed. And if you look at the top, when you have that cognitive piece, that's where you start getting your ABCs and your 1, 2, 3s and, helping kids with those executive functioning skills. We need all of those other pieces underneath there. And you're not going to get all those other pieces by doing worksheets or having pre-cut projects that the kids just need to glue together. So, we really have, through our early childhood nights that we had and working with the teachers, really sharing with families like this whole process. And we can't like put it on a worksheet, but they're trusting us that we're doing all of these pieces and kind of figuring out how to share that with families in other ways, whether or not it be through Class Dojo that they're using right now, or photos, or kind of those pieces. And I was able to meet with the team on Monday for the district staff meeting, and they really commented that they really liked Shauna, and then also that this pyramid just really stuck with them, and they're like, okay, like we're starting to get it now.
Any comments? Sean?
Yeah, I this is great, because I do support this personally, is you can see that each student actually becomes like a micro teacher, you know, and something like in this situation, you learn from others. I know this is geared towards, you know, the 3 and 4 pre-K kind of stuff, but do we still have in the district, you know, multi-age?
We do not, but maybe soon.
Well, the reason I asked that is because, you know, going back with my kids, there was actually that in there. So I did have the experience of that, and it was you know, it was a good experience for my kids and stuff, because they were the honor ones and stuff, and got to put into, like, you know, the more advanced kids and stuff, and with them being up a grade, and it definitely, I feel it was the, you know, added push from a different angle besides the parent, you know, and stuff. So I was supportive of that, and I would actually support looking into that in a you know, first, second, third kind of situation too. You know, do it when you get much higher than that. But
A little while back, Amy Daly came with a group who spoke about co-teaching, and through a lot of that training, some of our teachers who've been here for a while have started to ask about multi-age again, because they remember being teachers in the district who participated in that. And so the conversation has started to grow outside of the 3 and 4
the
year
big
olds.
question I would have out of all this is, why did we go back? Well, why was it imploded? You know, that would be the big question to find out now and come back with an answer, because I'd like to understand that.
Sure.
How long is the day for the 3 and 4 year olds?
2.5 hours.
2.5 hours.
Yes. Yep.
Do we have some in the morning and some in the afternoon?
Yes. So the morning session is 8:30 to 11 o'clock, and then the afternoon session is 12:30 to 3. Not all of our schools, well, Danville has enrollment to have a morning session. Pollard has a morning and an afternoon session with an additional morning session. Atkinson has a morning and an afternoon. And at Central, we're the combination of that as well. You know, one of the other reasons kind of why we talked about the multi-age is because we wanted to bring students into their home schools. However, I didn't really want to make that decision of 3s would be in the morning and 4s would be in the afternoon, or kind of vice versa. So this also opened it up so that we could help support more students throughout the district.
Glad to hear that. I've had the opportunity, my wife has taught both pre-K, K, and preschool, had the opportunity to do multi-age classrooms. So I was picking her brain last week when I saw this in the agenda. I said, pros, cons, what are you thinking? And she mentioned many of the things are up there. Some of the older kids who had had some of the fundamentals down, then would become the mentors for the younger kids. And this really, really happened. And in speaking with some teachers, other kindergarten teachers from her students that were pre-K went to, the feedback was, your academics don't matter at the stage, they're going to pick it up. You have children who are self-regulated. They will actually say, I don't understand, can you help me? Or, can I play too? I like this game too. And just those kind of word choices that they are taught, because it's not natural unless they have older siblings. The single, you know, the only children do need to learn that. If they're not learning it at that stage, she has heard that is when there are some real behavioral challenges and the kids just get frustrated. So thank you for that. I'm glad that there are 2 time zones, because I was wondering how a 3-year-old could go from the morning to the afternoon without a nap. That seems unfeasible.
You'd be surprised at how quickly kids can adapt. And I think Karen Radjevich, our child find coordinator, when we were talking about all this, you know, kind of said it well. You know, by the end of their early childhood experiences with us, we want them to be good humans who know how to be members of a community when they enter in kindergarten. And I think that is exactly what you just said.
Yeah. Anybody? Jack?
So I always struggle with change, especially when it comes to stuff like this. Because typically I like to look at data and say, here are the results. And how many times over the course of my short span on this planet have I seen, whether it be the corporate world or in education, we did this, oh my God, what were, 10 years later, oh my God, what were we thinking, right? So you see this, I've been watching the Japanese model of grammar school, and it's so foreign to me, but it kind of makes common sense. So the first thing that comes up is you have this child mentoring another child. Are we preventing that child that's doing the mentoring from personal growth at that time? I mean, this is all new and it's an awful lot to be thinking about, at least
Yeah.
from my perspective.
One of the things that I shared, and I feel like this kind of matches a little bit, but also is a little bit different. Say if the teacher, they want to look at apples and they cut the apple open and you see that there's a star in there. So the teacher does that one year and they're like, oh, what do you think's going to be there? I don't know. And then it's a star. So if that child is with that teacher again the following year, that teacher can then say, hey, Justin, remember last year when we did this? What do you think? Is it going to be the same? Is it going to be different? So we're using that student's prior knowledge and we're expanding on it and building on it. So I think that same piece that yes, maybe, Lucy is, kind of telling Justin how to stand in line, but through that she's learning compassion and she's learning patience and like she has that skill, so she's building on it. And then, the teacher our teachers are really good at, adapting, on the fly and being able to push kids.
And I understand we bear some responsibilities for all those things that you just spoke to, all those qualities.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't help but thinking that those qualities start and are reinforced at home. I just, my gut, this is where my gut is taking me in this conversation. And is this the best? I mean, we gotta be clicking on all cylinders all day in school and at home. So that's another one of my concerns by us teaching these value sets, if you will, for lack of a better term. Are we detracting from other things? And these are just questions listening to this.
I think it's important to not think of them as value sets, but more, if we use Karen's quote, like the human skills we need to be present in school, right? So it is being able to share. It is being able to line up without knocking your friend over in front of you. Like these are the things where it's being on the floor and playing with things. And both parent nights, we had Karen there with us and actually at least 2 children. So she sat on the floor modeling while we talked to parents, and it was kind of like, see that there, which we don't have right now. But imagine a teacher sitting on a floor with different kids playing different things where she's able to talk to you, Jack, and guide you in a direction that academically or cognitively challenges you. Then she might be talking to Marianne about just the colors of the blocks. Like there's a real individuality to the instruction that's given. And I think one of the other things you said, I want to think about those, but older meaning older in skill, not older in age.
That's what I meant, yeah.
Those kids who are older, I don't want to think of them as mentoring other students. I want to think of them as leaders of other students. And so in order to be a leader, you also have to develop leadership skills. So that would be a focal area, right? That the teacher is thinking about for that student and building leadership skills. They're modeling for others. But I don't want anyone to think that the expectation is that that child is mentoring or teaching another student.
Thank you.
Shauna?
Just to add on to what you're saying, Lucy, it's just building higher level executive functioning skills for that particular individual student. So, when like the common phrase for us would be leadership skills, but in the executive functioning world, we're thinking about being a problem solver. We're thinking about being an effective communicator. We're thinking about building self-efficacy skills, knowing when to ask for help, knowing when to accept help, knowing when to step in as leader, knowing when to step back and be a follower. And so those are all higher level executive functioning skills that particular student would have the opportunity to build upon, while also the benefit of mentoring the other friends in the room that are not quite at cognitive and emotional regulation.
And I think something to keep in mind in the video is these are developing till, I mean, years ago it was like 23, then it was 25, and now I think it's up until 27. So these girls are developing well into your late 20s. So we're not fixing all of these, we're not giving them all to kids, by the time they get kindergarten, but we really want to establish a strong foundation, knowing that these skills need to continue to be, explicitly taught throughout the years, all the way up to 27. It's just amazing sometimes when I think about what we are asking kids to do when we think developmentally 27. And even with that, there may be some people who are a little bit older, that's when these executive functioning skills are really considered, solidified. So.
I'm sorry, I came in late, so I apologize if this was already gone over. What is the ratio between the ages in these classes? Like, what are we looking for at next year? Like, is it gonna be mostly the pre-Kers? Is it gonna be just a small amount of preschoolers? What kind of numbers are we looking
So it really depends on parent registration, right? So school to school, you have different ratios of how many 3s and how many 4s. Where we have multiple sessions, like Pollard's AM, we have 2 classrooms, we will be trying to balance 3s and 4s across those 2. So it won't be a heavy 3 in one and a heavy 4 in the other. We're really trying to give a good balance to that ratio. For Danville, there's 1 AM class, so whoever registered is in that class.
Okay.
Donald?
Just kind of a comment from what I've seen at middle school and high school as a teacher, as an administrator. The kids who struggle to pass courses, to graduate on time, generally are kids who did not do a good job with their executive functioning along the way and need a lot of resources to catch them up or to try to prepare them to move forward. So I love seeing this happen in kind of a thoughtful preschool, environment with a kind of a view of what the future might be if they, get a good start. So I appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you. You just made my heart very happy.
Are the numbers of classes and students similar to past years, or is this higher?
It's just slightly smaller. We've capped it at 16 with the multi-age. We used to, for pre-K, go up to 18 if we needed to, so.
Thank you for that question. The one caveat my wife had suggested was it is more difficult, and she's done all the grades, but the multi-age, it takes much more energy, much more inventiveness. It's more challenging for the teacher, but it can also be more rewarding. And I used to go and regularly and read to the class, and just seeing the progression, it was impressive, to say the least. So thank you. Great question.
And I'll just add to that, we have maintained what we've done in the past. We've committed to early childhood that there is a teacher and a paraeducator in every classroom at the very least. So there will be 2 adults to 16 children, up to 16.
Anybody have anything else?
Just I'd like to close with one last thing. I think it's great that the board has the positivity about this thinking. If you really think about how we organize kids in public school districts, it's by the arbitrarily date that they were born.
Mm-hmm.
There's no thought behind that. There's no kind of development of a process for it. This is Timberlane starting to think deeply about that and maybe make some decisions that's based on that thinking and reflection versus just a simple arbitrary age. So I'm excited about the prospect of it. Sean, your idea about if this is something that we want to embrace, where else can this kind of benefit kids? We have the staff that are bought in that want to do it this way. So the ingredients are all there. So it's nice to hear this kind of support of that.
If you could though, Justin, could you find out why we moved back from that in I think it was like in the 1st and 2nd grade that they had it where they were multi-year?
I will do my best, but talk to the people that were here probably. I don't know, how long ago was it?
Longer than I can remember.
Really?
But we can dig it. We have people we know we can dig into.
That was a long time ago, I think.
Oh yeah, my oldest was the one that was in it, so that's 20 years ago.
I don't remember being across the board, like between things like readiness, where kids took an extra year to get through. Oftentimes they were in the same class the following year, moving forward.
I mean, I will stand corrected if I'm
So-
wrong, but I
You're
believe
right.
it was multi-year. That
There are
was,
several Pollard teachers and there are a couple Atkinson teachers who remember doing multi-age classes at Pollard, so
It was at Atkinson too, but it was usually just a class, not across the board.
oh yeah, no, I don't think it was across the board. I think it was a couple, like, they had like
Some pockets.
first and second grades, and then they had a multi one. So there was like one of the years was combined first and second, or it was second and third, and I
I
forget.
wonder if it had to do with population of the towns as well at that.
This was all in Danville Elementary though, so,
Yeah,
but I mean,
interesting.
it just, if it works, it should be, that's the important part. It works.
No, I think
And then
that
that's,
there
and then
was-
if it
there was
does,
a tremendous.
why, if it worked back then and it got done, taken away for whatever reason, that's the one I wanna find out now. But then now we're advocating for it again, so then why do we
It's a
get
moot
rid of it
point.
to begin with? So that's the real question I'm asking, cause I support this.
Yes,
It's a
please.
good way.
I'm guessing it probably has to do with the philosophy of the educational leader at the time.
That's a good.
That matters. Thank you very much. I understand you're up here for the next one as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
yeah, so in front
Entry
of you
update.
is an updated elementary projection for enrollment. Very little has changed. If you compare it to the last one, you'll see a few small fluctuations, but we remain fairly consistent. Couple pressure points, couple places that are at capacity, but they haven't changed since I started presenting in March, so if anyone has any new questions.
Other questions? In which case we can move on to the next and you can keep the
Next on
seat.
the list, all right.
We'll march it along here.
So you have two action items in front of you. This is due to the 26-27 need for these positions. Understanding that in IV, our positions are coded differently, so they're currently being used for something that will not be used next year, and we need to move them as soon as we need them for.
Make a motion to approve the title change from elementary 1-5 position to kindergarten position.
I'll second it.
Mary Ann.
Second by Jack.
Just one question. Is the coding of kindergarten different from grades 1 to 5 a state thing or is it a district thing?
District.
Maria? In IV, the coding elementary 1-5, because that's different from kindergarten, is that just our district or statewide, that's how it's done?
And the reporting that we do financially, we do elementary, middle and high. So elementary includes everything.
But not kindergarten?
Kindergarten is included with elementary in the financial reports that I do. I don't know.
But in IV, our teachers who are kindergarten teachers
They
have
are-
one code and then elementary 1-5.
Elementary 1 to 5 is another code.
And is that a state code? Or is it something we made? But just,
I
I'm
don't know
just
if
curious.
necessarily it's from the state, I know that's the way we have it, but like I said, the financial reports that I do include kindergarten with elementary.
That answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know why I think we've had something come up before where we had to take action because kindergarten was different from 1 through 5 and I always thought they were the same.
Well, it's funny that you say that because that top paragraph came exact from the executive summary you saw 2 years ago at the same time doing the opposite. So because of the system, the way the system is set, we are constantly coming back and asking for those things too.
For the budget line.
Could I just take a quick
Please.
moment and just highlight that for the board? Right, the model we currently have necessitates that we have to sometimes go back and forth between these pieces. It's not very efficient. It is solving the immediate problem that's in front of you. It's not long-term thinking. So this is one area to kind of point out the example of the complexity of just the logistical pieces about running the model we have. And the model we have is 2 separate kindergarten access points, half day and full day. And there are complexities about how we have to administrate that. This is one of those things, like we're redoing something we did a year ago, just because this is what needs to happen next year based on the numbers of where the registrations have fallen.
Any further discussion? Motion's been made and seconded. Did you get who made a motion seconded?
Yes, I did,
Okay.
yeah.
All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? None?
I'll make a motion to approve the title change from the 2 half-day kindergarten positions to a special education general position.
Second by Alyssa, discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Oh.
Yep, sorry, Jack.
Can you just explain that a little bit, please?
I will ask Lucy to start, and if I need to clarify anything, I'd be happy
Thank
to.
you. I just,
So,
it was tough in the kitchen.
Hi, Jack. What this is saying really is that for next school year, we need a special education position. In order to fill that need, we're using 2 half-time positions that will not be used. We're combining them together for that one-time position.
Okay.
Any other questions, discussion? Okay, those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? None. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lucy.
Oh, Lucy, you're all done now?
I thought this was the Lucy show, what the heck?
Lucy would be happy to present the budget to actual.
I believe we have Mrs. Watkins up next to present the budget to actual.
Dean, is there anything I can do here for you? Yeah, just alt tab, we'll bring it up.
You get to do the remote.
You're staying out of the way, that's what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm just getting out of there. I'll see how we.
One more?
It's out there somewhere, there it is.
Broke it, Justin.
Broke it, yeah, I was gonna say.
Another tab.
There it is.
To hold it down. You weren't holding it down.
It's not a Mac.
I think we just discussed.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. So we're here to present the April financials. If we start at the top, the revenue we have received 66 million. And in expenses, we are at 60.4 million. Compared to last year, revenue we're at 63.7, and in expenses we were at 60.4. I do want to make a note and thank you all the towns, because as of today, all the towns have been caught up to the month of May. So thank you to all the towns that are collaborating and working with us in getting our cash in. If we look at the second column, at the second row, revenue, we are at 92% compared to budget, and then expenses, we are at 72%. For the actual revenue received, 2.1% is local sources, 18% is state and federal, and 79.8% is taxpayers' contributions. The actual expenses, we have 60.4 million, of which 26.2% is operating, 28.9% is benefits, and 44.9% is salaries. We are still projecting 80 expenses for the year. Months remaining, June is the highest month because we have the payment for our teachers. So that higher amount is reflected on that. As of the end of April, we have 3,189 students, 592 employees, and 68 special education contractors.
Thank you. If you had to give a 1-sentence or 2-sentence synopsis, we are where we thought we would be. Any danger points, or you're just happy with where the numbers are?
We are where we had been projecting to be. Obviously, we are extremely cautious. As you all know, we are on a spending freeze. That has helped us to utilize the cash that we have in the best way we can. We are obviously trying to make it. That's why we're focusing. Justin and I are meeting probably every other day basis, looking at the numbers day by day and trying to manage our resources to the best of our ability.
Thank you. Jack?
So as I read this, it looks like we about $6 million Did I read that right? Like, we have $6 million worth of cash lying around. I won't say lying around, but I guess, do we anticipate in the next month and a half any large expenditures that just come with the territory? In other words, is there something?
Unexpected?
No, not unexpected. So we're chugging along, and then some months tend to be more costly than other months. And is June historically a more expensive month? And if I'm not mistaken, at least the way it works in the towns is even though you finish buying things in June, you'll be billed in June, but that money will come out of the kiddies in July to go back and pay for the prior year's budget, right?
No, so expenses that are incurred in this year, they have to be paid out this year. So what happens is if we don't get an invoice for something that was purchased this year, then what we do is we encumber the funds. We pay it in July, but we pay it with 2026 funds. The month of June, yes, it is higher because we do the balloon payment, which we pay 5 pay periods for our teachers in 1 month. So if you see in the bottom portion, the one that has the green and the red, the green are the 2 months that we have remaining. If you see the month of May.
Yeah, it's 15, it goes from 6.
4 and then 15 and a half for June.
What's our anticipated revenue for?
That's anticipating expenses. Those are
Right,
expenses.
I know that's an expense, but are we gonna be all right? I guess is the 30,000 foot question, is we gonna be fine? And do we have any additional revenues coming in against 2026?
We do still have the month of June for the apportionment of the apportionment. We still have the payment in June remaining, so which we are expecting to have the first week in June, because as you can see, the cash disbursements in June are big.
Thank you.
You've got 8 more percent, because right now we've collected 92% from all 4 towns. That 8% that's left on over, that's gonna be the June payment for everybody. So then it'll be 100% of the revenue will be received by the district.
And that's 8% of the total budget. Is that what you just said?
They're 2 different numbers.
8% of
There's the revenue that comes in.
No, I
And then there's the
understand.
budget, the expense side of it.
But I guess my question is our increase in expenditures, anticipated expenditures in the month of June, going to match equally with our increased revenue in June? Because that's
what we're aiming for.
That's the hope. Don?
Well,
Don?
it should be a lot
Excuse
easier.
me, Don?
My concern is, not that we're gonna make it, it's what we haven't done, haven't been able to do, where we've cut corners and how it's impacted students and families. And I wanna make sure we have an opportunity to go over that before we close out this school year and enter into another budget session, and start to think about what we're willing to forego and what we're not. And, and when I say that, what bad experience, what things do we wanna maintain that we weren't able to? We're free spending, we're not playing the role we intended in many cases because we're having to be very conservative about, making sure we don't spend more than we can, keep the buildings open for, So I just wanna make sure we don't say, hooray, we're doing great, because we're gonna make it to the end of the year when we get the money in from the towns here. And we'll be able to, graduate our kids and have wrapped up the school year. I'll be happy that we were able to do a school year. I will say, I was not happy thinking about parents complaining about why this, that, or the other thing wasn't provided as they had anticipated.
Are you suggesting it would be beneficial to have an accounting, every pun intended, of the things that were foregone in order to get to the place, or denied, or delayed, to get to the place that we are at right now? That's
right.
That's it?
That's right.
because if you don't, to Dawn's point, if you don't do that, then everything, and then everyone says, well, look, we made it on this and everything's hunky-dory, without understanding the say, it's like the capital line.
Yeah.
Well, you cut the capital line and guess what? It's not, yeah, we got by with that, spending that much on capital. It's, we're gonna have to do those projects anyways, or we did without this, and this is how it's affected us, and here's what inflation is gonna run into. I mean, immediately what came to
So
mind
would
is we Camp Lincoln. I mean, that just, but I agree with Dawn that we need to have a list of saying, here are the things that we
Make it a motion.
didn't do. Okay, I'll make, Dawn, it's your idea.
Well, I make a motion to have a kind of an audit of what we did. Self-audit of what we did and what we didn't do that we had hoped to do, how we spent the money, and what we chose not to spend money on. So we can analyze that.
Is that, any discussion on that? Because there hasn't been a second yet. Any discussion, cleaning up the language, or are people kind of happy with the direction that is going?
Yeah, I would just say, we know what we did do, but what didn't we do that we should have?
Understood.
Mhm.
Marianne.
Yeah, Don, I think some of the things that we didn't do were outlined last year when the budget went into effect. So I think that list is easily attainable. And then I think you're talking about also, once the freeze went into effect, what was denied that people wanted and needed for running the schools. And I think too, what we did last year at the budget wasn't as precise as something like not providing, the
Transportation to XYZ.
transportation to this was, parents picked that up and, and make it really clear.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of.
Is that what
things
you're thinking
that-
about?
Yeah, but I know that year to year, you can't project what the actual insurance rate's gonna be or other things, so you're not quite sure how that's gonna impact you. I wanna know what impacted us by design. What did we set ourselves up for?
Purposefully forego.
Right.
Did you have a question, Alyssa?
It was answered.
Okay.
What I'm hearing is information on the board about decisions, really post-spending freeze, that my team made for things that we foregone or that were not maintained.
Correct. I will second that motion.
So just, yeah.
Any further discussion on that? All those in favor?
I'm
Opposed?
doing it because I wanna be able to see it, and I will
Absolutely.
definitely be here to debate all those
Absolutely.
issues.
This is gonna help, I think.
No, it's fine. I hope it does.
Well, maybe we'll learn some things that, we can both, agree help us moving forward.
Cause I'll add to that I think it's very interesting is that this board or this district has the luxury right now going through this entire process of being, let's say, more fiscally constrained than they were prior years. Meanwhile, you have the luxury of a $20 million CIP sort of plan that's been developed on that stuff. The district can push CIP kind of stuff off to that $20 million bucket that's going to be, over here. I mean, we didn't have to, all these roofs that would have been replaced, the windows, all that stuff, those are things that we would have normally tried to do in a CIP kind of language year over year. That all gets done in a big package of this $20 million lease agreement. That's a big luxury that you have that, towns don't have that. How do we plan for CIP kind of stuff? We'd have to do the same kind of thing. So I'm looking forward to the output of this.
So
Let's wrap this up after Jack. Go. This should be under new business. I digressed. I let it slip. Go.
No, I don't think that $20 million, $25 million package was a luxury. That was something that cost us tens of millions of dollars by not staying on top of it. And you and I probably both agree that in a perfect world, we would have added $5 million to the budget for 5 years and been done with it and not have to deal with the interest. But there was no reality. The reality of that ever passing was never going to happen. What wasn't a luxury was us deferring the work that needed to be done year over year, and it has cost us dearly. And now that I think that we're in a pretty good spot, we still have a couple other things we need to get done. But now, let's not fall off of that scheduled, I mean, I look at the Belfry, 10, 15.
Stop, we're kind of,
I get the floor.
So this should have been under new business. This is
But I was-
discussing something that is not pertinent to the motion that was made and that was approved. We need to move on. You can bring this up under new business if you'd like, Jack.
No,
I don't wanna go down the rabbit hole of.
I was just finishing up, but.
Oh, please do.
So to me, if we had spent $10,000 every 5 years on paint, we wouldn't have spent $1.2 million on the Belfry, right? So, but we just saw it happen last year, first thing to go, capital line. So I just don't want anyone to think we're just out throwing money around.
And I do agree with you, but it is time
That's
to move
good
on.
news.
But that was a fantastic setup for the next object on the list here, painting, RFP. Thank you for that setup.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before we discuss the RFP, I do remember from my notes, there was a question about how much we spent on painting last year. I think that was you, Mark, that brought that up. And last year's painting bid was approved at $99,950. And that was for 8 of our 9 buildings, okay? There's a point of reference. This year, per the superintendent's direction, when we were asked to find another $600,000 or more to remove from the FY '27 budget as it related to our departments, 5% from each department, I took the $150,000 that was allocated for painting for FY '27 and reduced that to $70,000. When we sent the RFP out, we whittled down our list to three schools, TLC, Sandown North, and Timberlane Regional High School. The bids came back too high. And then, so what we did was we took the 2 lowest bidders, which were actually the only 2 vendors that bid on them, Noonan and E.H. Baker from Plastown. We called them and said, listen, we've got $70,000 to spend. We can't afford your bid. Can you remove some of the, what do they call it? The contingencies for,
Scope.
I beg your pardon?
Scope?
No, the contingencies for classroom, if there's an excessive amount of classroom prep for sheetrock and so forth. So we're gonna work with our vendors if in fact that occurs to and use our staff to assist. With all of that understood, we would like to bring forward this evening the RFP. We also, by the way, eliminated anything at TLC in order to get to that number, and we eliminated the ceiling at Sandown North's gym. So we're gonna do walls at North, in addition to some classrooms and some also classrooms at the high school. Big piece of the high school is the ceiling in the 200 wing that will be is currently peeling and chipping, and also because we're doing that roof through EEI, there'll be screw holes through that roof. So we're gonna be addressing that as well. So we'd like to bring forward E.H. Baker for the sum of $69,800 for our painting RFP.
As a point of clarification, did you say, I thought you had said excluding TLC?
Yes. The only thing that was going to be done at TLC, sorry, I may have misspoken. The only thing that was going to be done at TLC were some faculty bathrooms that we can do ourselves. Okay, so it's going to be North's gym walls along with several classrooms that were in the RFP, in addition to several classrooms at the high school. And again, these are not the entire classrooms in some cases. The largest piece being that we are going to be spraying that roof in the 200 wing of the high school, the roof that is the metal exposed roof, not a drop ceiling.
Tom?
I guess my question is basic. Is that a labor charge only, or who provides all the materials, paint?
So we provide the paint, Mr. Chair, if I may.
Please.
We provide the paint. This is, if you look at the at the actual quotes from the vendors, you can see they talk about it's staging and ladders, insurances, all the scraping, sanding, spackling. They're very thorough. That's our expectation, at least. It's all the prep work that I think is the lion's share of the cost.
Well, it didn't seem like it could be that amount and include all of the product that had in there.
If I could historically, have we always provided the paint?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's not new. Jack?
So we do the same thing with the top dressing and the seating. We provide the materials. Is there a reason why we do that?
Is there a reason why we provide the paint, or is there a reason why
Is there a reason why we provide in some of these RFPs, we're providing the materials and we're just hiring the contract labor to put those down? What's the advantage of whether it's grass seed or top dressing material or paint? Why do a typical bid that I've always been involved in, it includes materials and labor costs, right? So my question is, why are we separating out and paying for the materials ourselves?
Mr. Chairman?
Please.
Jack, what we have done is we have recreated the RFPs that have been done historically, knowing that we want a specific paint in our schools, and as we have a specific color pattern, et cetera, et cetera. If going forward, we want that to be different, we can do that.
So I think just for a point of reference, I think we discussed this like 3 years ago. And the reason why we were doing it is so that generally labor and, parts and labor, there's an upcharge on parts, 14%, 12%, 15%. We buy that ourselves as a district. There's not the upcharge. We're simply paying for labor.
Do you really believe that a painting contractor that's buying paint every single day around the clock isn't getting at the very minimum the same discount we are? Because I can tell you
My guess is they are. My guess is they are.
And as far as specified colors or any of that, I'm not buying that because you just put it in the RFP. So you specify the color. I mean, it just goes down in the RFP. And, I can tell you when we did the Carrot Grounds bid, it seemed like we're spending X, but we were probably spending double X. And then the other particular issue I'm having tonight, getting my arms around, I was not aware of the fact that, and I sit on facilities and I come to all the meetings. When did we determine, what did you say, Dr. Martin? We went from 170 and we reduced it to 70?
May I?
Yes, please.
So, again, in the proposed FY 27 budget was $150,000 for painting. What we do, and in FY 26, it was the same dollar figure, and I think it was very close in FY 25, but please don't quote me. What we have done historically as a department is to seek out from the principals what they believe, because they're in their buildings all the time, what needs attention in order to maintain the physical space where our children learn. And last year we did quite a bit of painting. This year the needs were not the same. And so, yes, I made that decision because the superintendent charged me with doing that.
Just as a point of clarification, I was aware of some of these discussions when the superintendent went to the different departments, said, find the cuts. Dr. Martin went to the principals and said, hey, we did more painting last year than traditional. Only put in for the classrooms that are really kind of destroyed. The others that can slip by a year, we can't afford it. It's going to go a year without paint.
I guess I get a number of issues with this. And look, I'm not going to make a mountain out of a molehill, but why aren't we doing what is required to be done in the first place? Number two.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
In other words.
Jack, because we don't have the money.
Well, this is for 27 though, right?
The board also approved the realignment of.
Yeah, and so, again, what I was told, and you told me, I when we started having that discussion, I said, I believe this should be a workshop. This is stuff that comes out along the, someone made a decision, we weren't gonna do one of the baseball fields. And that's fine if that's what the decision is.
That was me.
But that should be board decisions, not administrative. That's just in my humble, and what I wanted when we reduced or realigned that $4 million I wanted a workshop so I could fully understand all those details. Now, some people may say that that's not my responsibility. I would argue that it is. I would argue that it's the board's responsibility. I'm not pointing a finger, and then I hear, well, we went back to the contracts and said all we have is 70 million. If you think the bid is too high, typically the first thing is you put it back out to rebid. You don't tell anyone where the number is.
Understood,
That's
Jack.
just me.
Understood. Pause for one
But
second.
there are people
Pause 1
watching
second,
this,
please.
so
And I understand that. Our job is not to micromanage. Our job is to say, this is the direction we want you to go. It is not my responsibility nor yours to look at paint shades or to determine which classroom, hold on please, which classrooms need to be done and which classrooms don't. That's why we have departments. And I understand you wanting to do the workshop. You were very vocal about that. I understand. But please note and remember, some of these decisions have to be made on a timely basis. We have a hard enough time getting all members here so that we can revoke policies. Please. So time is of the essence with some of these things. We do not have the bandwidth as a board, nor do we have the professionalism to oversee each one of these steps. I get your frustration, and some of that does resonate with me, but that is not our job. Anybody else? Yes, Jack.
So you misrepresented what I said. I could care less what the shade is. I really don't care. What I care about is why isn't it represented in the bid? Why are we breaking out the materials independently? I at the very least, you could put it in the bid and say we reserve the right to buy them. And the actual bid process, again, is something that I have an issue with. And I'm not saying we should micromanage, but we do have a fiduciary responsibility to our taxpayers. And, I think the administration, wait a minute, I have the floor. I think the administration does a good job. Can I please
We're going off
finish?
the let me respond to that, please.
No, that's not right, Mark. I don't think it's right that you interrupt me while I'm making a
You do,
statement.
Mark. You're giving them the floor and giving them to speak, and then now you're closing it on them.
Thank you.
So go ahead, Jack.
I just think the bid process is a very simple thing, and I'm sure that there are members of this board, because you are right, not everyone has the aptitude or right? When we bid certain things and you see $70,000 for this, you're kind of forgetting that we're paying for the materials over here too, okay? And I mean, I didn't understand it sometimes, to be quite frank with you. All I'm saying is when I see the way this thing has been rolled, I could care less what the paint shades are. What I care about is that the tax dollars are being protected by a process and a policy on the RFP. It's that simple. I would have just put it out to bid again and say, you guys, you're all way too high. Now, if we change the scope of the work,
Understood.
that's a different story.
Understood. This is the precedent that had been set. This is the precedent. This is the RFP that we put out historically. So it's not as if something had changed. I do agree with you.
Why?
I think this should be reviewed. I did think that was odd as well. It's the precedent that was set. Nothing's changed. Nothing shady is going on. It is something that we should probably visit in the future. Don, did you have something?
I just, maybe it belongs in a meeting somewhere else, but it seems like you could require the person to say, oh, you're breaking out what it's going to cost for the way you have been doing it with basically labor and their, equipment and whatnot that they need to bring, but not the product, but also have them say, and for our consideration, can you give us what it would cost for the materials, et cetera, et cetera.
Sure.
Agreed.
And detail what, who's making it, whose paint is it, or, what detail you can there. And then you have a choice about whether you want to go and do all your shopping or let them. And I think that becomes another way for a vendor to be competitive.
I agree 100%. We have done this this year. We revisited with our fossil fuel and, from 1 year to 3 year, give us both. I think that's something that is absolutely worthy. So I do agree with you, Jack. Yes.
So if I just may give a little bit more context, okay?
Please.
So we submitted the RFP to all of the folks on our preferred vending list. In addition, we posted it on the website in compliance with the policy. We had 4 vendors who attended the mandatory walkthroughs of each of the facilities with Mr. Brander. And the day of the RFP opening, we had 2 vendors who had RFPs, which were Noonan Brothers and E.H. Baker. So when the numbers didn't make it for what we had budgeted for painting, I felt it was very fair and showed that there was no funny business, that we allowed both of them to come back with by reducing that, what do they call it? Whatever they call it,
Square footage, scope.
No, we didn't, no, it's the contingencies in case they run across a wall that somebody put a chair through or something ridiculous of that nature. I'm just making that up. So our intention was to be as fair to all the vendors as we could be. I just wanted to make that clear. There was no funny business here in that regard. Thank you.
Yeah, what I was gonna say is, one of the things that I know we've done at our town for RFPs, that sort of going through these exercises multiple times, is you basically write the RFP such that fill in the blank here, supplies of paint, gallons, and then have them put a price in there. And if you see it's X and you can get it for X at 95% of X, we'll decide to cross that on out and we'll buy it. That's how you do that. So then now you can get apples and apples, and it forces each vendor to fill it all out. The more you
Sharpen
have detail
pencil.
in there.
Sure.
Okay. I'm gonna do my best to summarize all the things, because that's what I do. Okay, so right now, we have, bids in front of us that went through an RFP policy and then a process. And to be clear, school board sets policy, but the process and procedure is set by the administrative team. It seems as though that's what Dr. Martin did. This is the result of what's happening here. I think the board can come to a consensus on, we may want to revisit what the RFP policy is and have an engaging conversation with our administration related to the procedure end of our frustrations here, or thoughts and concerns. But right now, in this moment, that particular part of the puzzle isn't going to change. And so for me, I am at this point in time asking, if we opt not to move forward with this proposal tonight, and we go back and ask for them to include materials, does that delay the scope of work that needs to be done in the district over the summer?
So to answer your question, this is a vendor that I don't have any experience with. Mr. Brander does. We need to get in their queue quickly, because we have to play, as particularly at the high school, the dance of cleaning classrooms, fixing roofs, painting classrooms, cleaning. It's a dance. It's a very intricate dance. If we don't get in their queue quickly for their summer work, it could be a problem.
Okay.
Or we don't do the work at all.
Okay. And sorry, can I ask a
Continue.
follow-up question? Because that helps me formulate my next question. So that's helpful information to know. So, and I do know this vendor, and I am familiar with them. They're local. It's also a graduate of our district, which is kind of cool. So that being said, do you by chance offhand or have access to help us formulate an informed decision? Could you let us know roughly what the cost of the paint is that the district has that's not included on this RFP?
Sure. Mr. Chairman.
Please.
Just to give you an idea, last year, because we did look this up, last year we spent about $5,000 for the entire year at one particular paint vendor and another $1,000 at Sherwin-Williams. Because there was a question, someone asked a question at one point in time, is why don't we go out to bid for paint? We don't because we don't have to. So if that gives you any context.
It absolutely does.
So can I just summarize now that I have that information? So for me, at this point in time, there was a set amount of money in the budget for painting. Our administration gave you a directive to try and look at the scope of the work, make some, flexible changes, think that through. So including the materials, with inflation was about $6,000 last year. It's probably gonna be like about 7 to 8 this year. I don't know, I'm not a painter, everybody, but follow my math, if you will. And then we have this bid that this particular vendor that you're choosing is approximately $69,800 with a guesstimate of things. And so adding those two things together still comes well under what was in the budget line for that particular scope of work and requirement, right? And so I think at this point, I'm gonna make a motion to approve E.H. Baker painting at RFP vendor. Let me read it. Do you want me to read the whole thing?
Yeah, if you would, please.
I can
Just
do
for
that
record.
for you. Motion to approve entering into a contract with E.H. Baker Painting for painting projects at TLC, Sandown North, and the high school for a total cost of $69,800.
Is there a second on that?
Second.
Second by Alyssa. Discussion. Jack?
If you change the scope of work and cut the scope of work by half, you don't go to the two vendors that showed up at the bid opening. You put it back out to bid. That's just business. That's just how any other operation operates itself. I'm not here I don't wanna put a cog in the wheel, but if we put the RFP back out with the scope of work, that's half. You may have 2 or 3 more vendors that maybe the 170 was, 150 was too much for them. But now it's manageable and they may wanna bid on it. And if we were to put this out tomorrow, it's 14 days. 14 days gets you into the middle of June or the beginning of June, gives you plenty of time before the school shuts down. So from a timing standpoint, if we can't be flexible enough to coordinate something like that, I don't know. I just am questioning the whole thing.
Stop, Don.
The
Don,
RFP listed the 3 schools. It was TLC, Sandown North, and Timberlane Regional High School, okay? So that was what the RFP denoted. During the mandatory walkthrough, Mr. Brander walked all 4 vendors through all of the classrooms and areas that were to be painted. When we did not change the scope of work when the RFP was distributed. When we received the proposals and the dollar figures, and I don't know if I have them here, and the dollar figures were over 70,000, right? That's when we asked the only 2 vendors who submitted proposals to go back. But I just wanna make sure that we didn't, that when I talked earlier in the meeting, I talked about the 8 buildings this is last year's proposal, with the 8 buildings that we did painting in last year. We're not doing anything quite that extensive this year.
Okay, so the scope of work didn't change. Mary Ann?
I think, for clarification, I think Jack said cut the scope in half. I don't think it was cut in half.
I think I misunderstood,
Just
all right,
one
to be fair.
TLC cut.
Okay, I still got a problem with the process, but.
Jack, you don't have the floor. Mary Ann was speaking.
No, yeah, okay, Mark.
So I just have a technicality question. Shauna made the motion and the RFP included TLC, but the painting is actually not including TLC. Should we have TLC in the approval or not?
So Mr. Chairman,
Please.
the RFP denotes that we have the right to delete any work that we so choose. Okay, so we've not done anything inappropriate.
Was your hand up, Sean?
Yes. Dr. Martin, did the RFPs that we received, did they have the detailed breakdown such that you could look at and see that TLC was X, this other facility was Y, the other one was Z, and you could then remove that one out of there? Then I would support this motion, because it's more easy, you can get to the logic of what's Shauna's motion.
Sure.
But if that is not in that detailed format, I support Jack's position on that, because we are, and there's no way to ascertain how much a vendor allocated to TLC, to this one. If it was all as an aggregate, it's, $140,000. Well, we don't know how you got that, so we can't extrapolate TLC costs this.
You're asking if it was itemized by
Well,
location.
yeah, the fine details, which is, if we adopted, like I was saying.
Yep.
The proposal being specific, you could say fill in TLC here and there.
Doc?
Remember, we only had a little faculty bathroom at TLC.
And then the other part I have on this is that, as Marianne brought on up, there's no part in this 70K allocation for paint. So
That's
if
correct.
you reduce the budget line item to 70K and this is 70K, where's the paint coming from?
Mr. Chairman, the paint is coming from the facilities maintenance account, which has been prior to my arrival here.
And again, just to put things in perspective, again, if the paint we're estimating is, maybe $7,000, even if a distributor could get a, 5% discount greater than what we can get, we're still talking, that's $3,500, assuming they could get that. So that's a small percentage of the overall cost of the project that we're looking at. Jack.
So I have a question. That $6,000, $5,000 paint buy, does that include all the paint we buy for the year, including field paint?
Mr.
Please.
Chairman, no, it's including all interior and exterior paints that we use to maintain our facilities. I don't have a figure for the field paint costs.
So, but the point I'm trying to make is if we spend $5,000-$6,000 on paint and half of that just gets allocated to whoever ends up getting this contract, I don't know what that percentage, how many gallons of paint do we estimate this project worth? Because I'm trying to do the ratio of paint to labor cost in my mind, and without knowing how much of that work we do ourselves, how much we actually buy and put on the walls ourselves internally, it's hard to make that determination.
I understand where you're coming from. I do.
You understand where I'm
So
going?
I do. But if we spent $7,000 last year, the scope of work is half of that now. We're talking $3,500. It's kind of pennies on the dollar.
I'm not talking about the cost of the paint. I'm talking about the cost of the labor.
Okay.
In
Understood.
relationship from a proportionate standpoint to the amount of labor being done, right? If you got a bricklayer and you spend.
Yep. Yeah, no, I get you.
Motion.
Anybody else?
I just wanted to say,
Last.
I have utmost confidence in Baker Painting, and don't want to hold them up in this situation. But I do think it's good to have these conversations about the detail about, especially when we're talking about budget pieces where we're sacrificing what we do.
It's good because
Understood. You don't have the floor.
All right, can I now?
Yes, please.
I think it's good to have these discussions and stuff, because if we didn't have these kind of discussions, I know that I brought on up the fact about the van that we brought up, and Dr. Martin wasn't aware of that. And we saved the district a bunch of that I brought to the table, which was unbeknownst to the whole board. So having these open discussions is very valuable, and, and people don't have to take it personally, it's getting challenged. Okay, get challenged, and if you can't defend it, you learn from it. And that's the best product.
As much in committee as possible, so it's not something that takes up, so much of a board meeting. There has to be confidence in it, and sometimes we go through, especially at the end of a tough year.
Motion's been made, seconded, discussion has been had. All those in favor? All those opposed? Abstentions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Or could I make a comment for the
Please.
board? Two things. One, this administrative team did a lot of work to clean up the RFP policy and the process over the last 4 years. We're in much better shape than the district was 4 years ago. Second, I'd really encourage the board to give the administration some clearer direction around RFPs. Over the last 4 years, I've heard different voices at this table suggesting different things. And some of those are very mixed messages. I'll give you an example. I've heard at this table to not list specific products or titles of machines and equipment. And I'm hearing tonight that we absolutely should be listing that. So as a board, I think you guys need to kind of get together, outline what you want, and then deliver some very clear information to us. Because there's been some conflicting messages, and I just want to understand what the direction is. So when we come to this table, we don't need to spend 30 minutes on process. I agree with you, Sean. These are valuable. These are the conversations that we want to have, but I don't want to get tied up and moved away from making the decision or not making the decision. I don't have clarity, and I'm looking for some clarity.
All we do is add 2 zeros at the
You
end.
don't have the floor. Jack.
So let's be clear. we have done an incredible job collectively, the board and the administration, of cleaning up the RFP process. But that's because it was driven by a specific board member, period, who took a lot of grief for it. I wanna bring up the point also that when we said don't specify a piece of equipment, that was in the case of, it's like saying you can only use a Case bulldozer as opposed to a John Deere bulldozer, and it pigeonholed the people that could actually bid on the project, which to me was unethical on its face. That's just my opinion, and I've been around the block a few times. It's very different than saying, if you want Benjamin Moore Chantilly lace in this classroom, you can just write down, I could care less about that. It's R equal, you can write down R equal. In the case of that piece of equipment being written into the RFP, if it said Case bulldozer R equal, I would be, it's more about the art of how to write the RFP than it is anyone trying to manipulate the system or passing judgment on how it's being done. So I want to be clear. I think we're light years ahead of where we used to be. I know we are, and it's a much cleaner process, but we still, for one reason or another, occasionally make mistakes. We all make mistakes. I make mistakes. I have erases on all my pencils. So I bring this stuff up because it's my job to do it. That's what the people of Atkinson elected me to do, and I'm gonna do it. And if I have a question on something, I'm gonna ask it, and I'm not gonna apologize for it. But let's just be clear that I don't think anyone does anything with ill intention, but there have been a number of cases where I'm like, this could have been done better. In other words, if we're gonna change the scope of work, instead of going back to the two contractors, and I'm not even wanna refer to the painting issue, if we wanna rethink a bid, you put it back out to bid again. That's the cleanest way of doing it, and that's the way it's typically done.
Thank you. Mary Lou. Yeah, your hand up.
I agree with what Jack just said.
Okay. Thank you.
Appreciate you thinking about clarity for me.
Yeah. Okay, next we have policies. Assistant Superintendent Allaire.
We are going to move right past this.
Yeah, we
because
don't-
this
yep.
is the notice to repeal
Yep.
policy IJM, and that does require full board attendance. So that is all we have to do.
Administrators report.
You wanna
I
Overnight,
think
overnight travel request?
we
Is
do
that-
have one additional agenda item that is on there.
Okay,
For an
it's going off the
overnight
old
travel
list.
request.
Thank you very much.
I'm happy to speak to that unless Mr. Pedersen is here as well.
He's digesting his food. He'll be there soon.
Good evening.
Evening,
So we have a late breaking overnight travel request only because our Envirothon team once again won state championship on the 19th, so just a couple days ago. They've won this is their third time winning in 4 years. And so by winning states, they were invited to nationals. Nationals this year is in Mississippi, and we have a tight deadline. We have to tell the Envirothon organization that we are committed to going to it by June 1st. And so we're here tonight to ask you to approve the overnight travel for the Envirothon team to represent New Hampshire, represent Timberlane at the national competition.
Questions?
So
Comments? Marian?
is the district cost the van rental?
I believe everything is gonna be funded through students and fundraising. So we just broke out the different costs,
Okay.
but everything is gonna be paid for by the students, and we're in the process of trying to fundraise as much as we can for those students.
Congratulations to these students and this extraordinary winning, and so I'd like to make a motion to approve the overnight student travel request for the 2026 Envirothon competition in Mississippi from July 19th through 25th for 2026.
Second by Alyssa. Any discussions? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? None. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mark.
And good luck.
Yes, good luck. Mr. Krieger.
I'm gonna ask Ms. O'Leary to go first.
Okay. I have just two updates. One is, first off, thank you for reviewing our revisions to math competencies. That was the culmination of quite a bit of work of groups of teachers across our district, across all different grade levels. Just my intention is to regularly bring you updates around that work, and that was foundationally kind of step one in our work to reevaluate our math curricula, instructional practices, resources across the district. So just giving you a heads up that next step in that work, now that we have those competencies approved, we are going to begin a comprehensive review of instructional resources for math across grade levels in our district and schools. So next Wednesday, we are bringing back together a smaller group of the same teachers that were part of that first step in the process of rewriting our competencies. And they will begin the process of reviewing a variety of different math resources across grades K-8 and potentially some high school level course resources as well. Algebra 2, geometry. Once you get to the high school level, that sort of grade level alignment somewhat disappears once it becomes more course specific. So we're looking forward to that work. That will be next Wednesday. We will, of course, update that you all on that process as we move through it. And am I speaking to the process, the Danville principal? Okay, I will speak to it. So also just updating you on our search for a new Danville principal. This all day today, we're in this room. We had a round one interview committee that was comprised of Danville teachers. We had a paraeducator, an administrative assistant, a Danville parent, myself, Ginger Drexel, and we had also another administrator who is also a resident and parent in Danville. And so we narrowed down, we had 11 applicants for that position. We narrowed down that group to 5 highly qualified applicants. We had round one interviews today. That group, we had great conversation. We've narrowed down that pool to 3. And we are moving those individuals to round 2 of the search process. And so we heard loud and clear from our community in Danville that they want to be able to weigh into the process, that concerns around high levels of turnover and leadership in that school are of concern to them. We are very much, our intention as a search group committee is to make sure that we provide opportunities to get input from people who were not necessarily at the table during the interview process. So we are Wednesday evening, this will be announced tomorrow. We are planning to have a meet the candidate forum of sorts. And so 6 p.m. Wednesday evening, again, this will be announced to the community tomorrow once we finalize everything. At 6 p.m., we are envisioning 3 30-minute sessions. So we have 3 finalists. And we are going to invite anyone and everyone who's able to come. It'll take place at the Danville School. We will be asking people to pre-register, not in the sense that we're checking attendance, but it'll give us a sense of how many people we are anticipating, just to be able to determine if that will happen in a smaller space at Danville or a larger space. So likely that will be part of the notice. And it'll be a chance for each candidate to introduce themselves to those in attendance, and then to have some time for open-ended questions for people to be able to meet them. And then we will be collecting some high-level feedback from those in attendance. We are not live streaming it, nor are we recording it. So this is really, we understand it's very short notice. As Mrs. Manthorn mentioned, or this time of year we know is challenging. But it is something we are putting together with fairly short notice to our candidates. So also trying to be respectful of their time and our timeline. From there, we'll use that feedback from the community coupled with the feedback from our round 1 group to move on to the round 2 process that I believe Mr. Krieger is going to be chairing. So again, we're on track to hopefully have a finalist that we will bring forward to you more than likely at our first meeting in June is our target. So that's where we're at with our process.
That's a great thing you're doing. That's nice and transparent, and it gives people a chance to kind of feel part of it if they're being heard. I think it's great.
Yep. So And that is all I have.
Do you have any things to share?
I do. I have some really great things to share. On the athletic front, Mr. Fantasia, oh boy, wanted me to mention to you folks that we will be hosting the Tri-County State Track Championships for middle schoolers on 5/28. That's a pretty cool thing, which we couldn't have done a few years back with the state of our track. So beware, there'll be several hundred middle schoolers in the area, which is wonderful.
I want to tell you something.
Yeah.
I don't want to interrupt much, but these coaches, right, they have, among them, they have never really run a home meet before. Not only is this maybe like third or fourth event for us, it's the biggest one that the state offers.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Well,
no problem.
Right, there we go. Again, you gotta love that, right? You love to love that spirit. That's why doing great things for kids it's just great to see. Also, from the PAC standpoint, I was not able to attend the Sing Me a Song project last night, but I attended the dress rehearsal. I can't tell you, I was completely engaged with the story. It is very difficult to play in a small ensemble if you've ever been a musician or a vocalist because you're very exposed. And so to see and hear those children, Mr. Schweiss is an excellent conductor. Yeah, Mr. Stack is an okay narrator, but I mean, to follow the kid's story, I'm sure last night was amazing, and I hope to pick it up on YouTube at some point in time. But a credit to all of them. While we're in the PAC world, we received an email, and I love this. There's a new group that's been renting our facility called the Performing Arts Center. I don't know where they're from. They rented our facility on from Friday night through Sunday. Okay, that's a long time. They sent us. This is their first time renting from us. We made more than $12,000 from their rental. And they sent us notes about our people. Lynn, you were so communicative from the very start, and maybe my type A personality loved it. I know I sent you a million emails with so many questions. I really appreciate all you did. Anthony, we truly loved working with you all weekend. You were there whenever we needed you. I think sometimes I didn't even finish my thought, and you were already completing the task. And right down to Bob and Val, our custodial staff. They were the cleaning up after kids can be tough, especially with all those costumes. Please let them know how much we appreciated them. So they're going to be booking our facility now for 2 different events next year. And again, from a performing arts standpoint, you don't do that when you don't have a really positive experience. And I didn't want to interrupt Lucy's thunder, but multi-age classrooms in the performing arts, we've been doing that since Moses wore sandals. Okay, just saying, and the rising tide rises all ships. That concludes my report.
Quick thing for Cameron, you guys recognize he's not in attendance with us. He's got his last Milkman show of the night tonight, so that's what he's over doing and kind of performing in those areas. So I'm really hoping that show was great, if it's not still going on maybe. Reiterate what Maria shared with the board earlier. We appreciate your guys' partnership with us about reaching out to the selectmen or the town managers and getting us kind of caught up where we need to be revenue-wise, and really appreciative of the towns being very responsive to those requests that have come through. June 1st, as a board member, is that next kind of key date for us. So we have commitments from all the towns that they're going to be able to all meet that June 1st date. So good news moving forward. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to share with the board the New Hampshire School Boards Association legislative update. It's a pretty dense document, but it does a really great job of summarizing some key things for you, directing you to the actual bills that are there. I want to bring 3 of them to your attention that I hope that you spend some time kind of digging into and reading in this document. The first is House Bill 1300. This is looking to institute a tax cap, and it would be placed on the November election across the state. So not at the school district's annual meeting, but at the November general elections across the towns. The second one I'd like you to take a little look at is House Bill 751. This is the most current iteration of open enrollment. There was just a hearing last week that you could live stream, and you can look on the YouTube archive. That's also on this link too, but there's the latest iteration of that bill. And lastly, House Bill 1563. This is looking to change the special education aid formula to actually, lo and behold, actually benefit districts and include more kids. So right now, that threshold is that districts can apply for reimbursement if a student is 3.5 times the average cost per pupil. This is a bill that's looking to lower that to 2.5 times and then set some metrics about different contributions from the state depending upon where the students fall in there. So a unique bill. It's got the unanimous support of both of the chambers. So something to look forward to and would certainly have an impact on additional revenues for Timberlane moving forward. I'll send that to you tomorrow. I also gave you a hard copy of the approval letter that we received. If you remember a while back, we made a request through RSA 3211 to be able to ask permission of the Commissioner of Education to spend funds in excess of that we had received in revenue. We received that approval, and just to be clear, we received that approval because we met the 3 prongs, and that's 1, identifying the unexpected expenses, 2, the source of the revenue available to cover those expenses, and then 3, the approval from the Budget Committee. So those are meeting that approval. So that enables the district, if we need to expend $568,052 in excess to require for some required spending on special education costs. We'll keep you updated about whether or not we need to exercise that. Elementary and middle school. One of the things I was able to share with the Danville Board of Selectmen meeting that I thought it's also a good idea to share here is the elementary teams and the middle school teams have worked really hard this year to get us to a point where at the elementary school, they will be able to give the kids their classroom teachers before they're leaving school this year. So they've got some time to think about that over the summer, perhaps visit the school, reach out. That's great. On the staff side of things, think about what that enables us to do. Our staff know who they're going to be with before they're leaving us in the summertime. Any summer professional development work can kind of get tied to those kids they're actually going to be working with. So it accelerates our degree of preparation for when kids come back with us in the fall. So we're really excited about that. At the middle school level, they're echoing that same thing. They're going to be able to tell kids their team assignments before they're leaving for the school year. And again, helping us prepare as the adults when those kids are coming with us. So a lot of front-loading work, kind of living in the next school year, but really hoping it's got some large benefits that way. And lastly, I will say that we were looking for school board goals to do some workshops with you folks. We have sent out a few surveys to you. We don't have all the information we need back from you. So in talking with Mark and Katie, what we decided to do was just to say, we're going to have this goal workshop on June 18th. We're going to mirror it with a school board meeting. We've heard from 7 of 9 of you that you'll be in attendance that night. So we got to get moving and we got to get forward on it. If you've responded that you're not going to be in attendance, I'll connect with you so how we can kind of catch up. And if you haven't responded, I'm going to gang tackle you before you leave the meeting tonight and see whether you'll be in attendance with us on June 18th. It is a meeting that our legal counsel can make for you. So it's an opportune time to start talking about those pieces. That's all I have unless there's other follow-up.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. Personnel reports, would you like to start off, Jack?
Personnel report is right here, so let me just take that off your plate.
Oh,
Can I make a motion?
Sorry,
Those are board
I was
reports,
jumping.
and
Sorry.
I'm gonna do what you actually said.
I just wanted to hear you again. Sorry, man.
I'm gonna make a motion to accept the professional nominations of the following people: Karen Arendt, library media specialist at Timberlane Middle School; Ryan Lemieux, math teacher at Timberlane High School; Tegan Oakes, elementary teacher at Sandown North; Courtney Ryder, science teacher at Timberlane High School; and Mary Bergendahl, math teacher at Timberlane High School.
All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions?
Welcome aboard. I make a motion to accept the professional resignations of Jamie Newman, elementary teacher, Danville Elementary; Matthew Jablonski, science teacher, Timberlane High School; and Isabel Marsola, elementary teacher at Pollard Elementary, and thank them for their time and commitment to our students.
Seconded by Alyssa. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? None?
We wish you well. And accepting the make a motion to accept the professional renomination of Robin Gould, special education teacher, Danville Elementary.
Second by Alyssa. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? None. And now, committee reports? You want to kick this off? Or
You
should I do
really
the other
threw
one?
me off with the other one. was like,
I just
what
wanted
is
to give
he
you time to
talking
prep,
about?
sir.
You got even. I'll let you take facilities. We had another CIP meeting. We pretty much we're getting to know each other. We were getting to figure out where our lanes are and what we should be doing. Justin came in and joined us. We had a good discussion about potentially what that amount should be moving forward. And philosophically, we had differences of opinion on all of that amongst, but it's a good committee, and kind of like the discussion we had earlier, it's good to have committees and boards that hash things out from all different perspectives. So that's kind of where the CIP is. I will say, at the end of the day, our job is put together a list and prioritize it for the school board. And that's all it is. It's just a list. It's not spending money. It's here are the things next in line. And we're kind of the bookkeepers of those projects, for lack of a better term. So that's it on the CIP.
Excellent. Facilities met. We actually had an outdoor meeting where the exterior of one of the walls was exposed. There was rust in one of the studs, so there was a question as to how extensive that was, whether this was going to be a problem throughout the entire surface of that wall. So the decision was made to do some exploratory research in two other areas. The good news is they were dry, they were bone dried. So there is some question as to the substrate that was used as a waterproofing agent because it's no longer in production, and the implications that may have. The good news is it does not look as if the entire drywall surface will need to be removed as had been feared. So there's some cost savings there. Jack?
Yeah, so you don't know this as of yet. I shared this with Dr. Martin and Mark. I had an extensive conversation with Georgia Pacific this morning. We're going to be sending them pictures. They're going to help us wade through all of this. Some of the specification changes were basically, as she explained it to me, specification upgrades. So the standards change, but it doesn't make the prior materials any less viable. So I shared that with the architect, but all in all, that's good news. What I will say is we'll probably have other areas of that building where that condition exists, and we're waiting through, and I talked with the architect today briefly, just to let him know, because they were waiting for information back from Georgia Pacific. There are ways of managing through that.
Yeah.
So I think
So
we'll be
all
good.
good news as far as it's not as bad as we feared. The water intrusion was not throughout that entire wall of the school. So that is good news.
So that sheetrock has been identified as exterior grade sheetrock, is that what?
Yes. But so even in the first section that had been exposed, it was exterior, but water had infiltrated behind it. As a result of which, one of the metal studs, there was some rust there. We didn't know whether that was a representative sampling or not. It was in a higher risk or an area that would be more prone to water intrusion, as some of the salts from the masonry had leached out. And it was in a corner that had some roof repair. They went to two other sections, took those out. They were bone dry. I mean, the insulation was drier than in my house, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, it makes
So all
sense.
good.
I mean, as long as that sheetrock is exterior grade, I mean, if water gets in back of that, I mean, that's
Yes.
got it back of that. I mean, it's not
Exactly.
the sheetrock's fault.
The other brief discussion I had with the architect today and with one of the contractors that was out there, there are minimal applications you can do to the face of that exterior drywall. Kind of right now, there's tar paper, and believe it or not, even though it's an old fashioned remedy, it worked pretty good. There are better mouse traps at this point in time.
There's creosote telephone poles float around.
Yeah. So anyways,
Just don't look at them.
at the end of the day, what we thought we may be facing, I don't think we are, and I think that's good news.
That's really good news. Also, TTA committee met today. We met with the TTA. It was constructive, mostly just establishing ground rules, future dates, trying to strategically move the ball forward so that we're not in a time crunch at the end. Nothing substantial to report other than we're meeting and getting along well.
I would like to actually say, when are we going to have a meeting of the board to discuss what our decisions are going to be to present to this, the representatives of you, meaning you, to bring our points forward?
My guess would be next meeting we'll get together and do that and just kind of figure out the direction we want to handle. We want to head rather. Shauna?
Just to jump in, because I was also there this afternoon, our first meeting with them is not until August. So this group
We
of
have time.
we have some time just to.
No, I know, I understand. I just wanted to make sure that we're going
Yes.
to
Oh, yeah.
have
Oh, yeah.
that discussion,
Yeah.
not just 2 or 3 people run with it and
Absolutely.
represent everybody. We
Absolutely.
should know what our opinions are.
Absolutely. Alyssa, anything?
No reports.
You skipped me.
I thought that was your turn, sorry.
Dang. I don't have anything specific, but I do want to say this. No, I mean, I don't have a committee report, but I have a school board report.
The school board dish was the best.
And that is, there's the joke out there in families in our community that it's like Maytember, if you've heard of that. It's like December, at the end of the school year, all these activities that are happening. And it is not lost on me, and I truly believe the rest of this board, but I want to thank all of the people in our district that plan, implement, organize, coordinate, and run all of these activities that our students in the community and their families get to come to as traditional opportunities to celebrate learning and the achievements of our students, being both musical, academic, athletic, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And if you look at the district calendar in the month of May, there's like 12 things on every day. And so thank you for all that you do. It's just really important work that happens well beyond the classroom, but really makes a immeasurable difference to our students. So thank you for those that do that. I'm done.
Marianne?
No committee reports. Curriculum meets again June 3rd. And I did get to go sing me a song last night. It was fabulous. It was a packed house because of all the different musical performances before and after. The 2 young children who wrote the story were there in attendance, so it was really nice. They got a standing ovation. It was a great community event.
CIP was already discussed.
Okay. Any new business or other business? Jack?
So I'd like to make a motion that we instruct the superintendent to work with Ken, our technology folks, to look into guidelines, or should I say, we talked about expanding the software for an extra $10,000, so I don't even think it has to go out to an RFP. The way I kind of see this happening, and I could be wrong because I'm not a tech guy, good, better, best. So, can we monitor kids? Can we monitor screen time? Ken said it would be like an extra $10,000. I'm assuming that's a year. But I think it bears looking into. The more I talk to parents, I get, after that meeting, I get calls from parents, hey, why aren't we doing it? So I think it's a good idea. And I think we should explore it to see what our options are. But I don't see this even having to go out to bid because it's short cash for what we'll get in return. And it falls well below the threshold.
I will. Okay. Marianne, second, discussion? Okay. Do you need the motion cleaned up, or do you have the essence of it?
Let me see. Instruct the superintendent to work with Ken and the technology folks to look into expanding the software to monitor screen time.
And come with solutions or tiered, but you said best,
like what's available out
options,
there.
options and costs associated with those options.
My guess is it would probably, and again, I don't want to be a hypocrite, but Ken had specifically talked about the same vendor being able for an extra $10,000 to give us those additional services. So I don't know if it's that easy or not, but I'll leave that up to the administration.
Sounds good.
As I like to
Thanks,
usually do.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of Jack's motion? Opposed? Abstentions? None? Any other new business or
Yeah.
other business?
I just want to finish up here. So I got a whole bunch of calls on a whole bunch of different things, and I get copied on some emails to Justin, and I know people pick it. And if I have one glaring thing I admire you about is your accessibility to the residents of this community. You're accessible to all of us. Your door is always open. But I want people to use that sparingly. We are the representatives, right? So you can pick up the phone and call us so we can consolidate the information. I don't need you spending 18 hours of your week with the same call from 15 different people or responding to. What I'm asking the public to do is come through your reps, because that's what we're here to do. A lot of parents do that, a lot of residents do that. I don't think you'll ever close your door on anybody, but time is money and time is crucial, and we have a lot of challenges, and it helps you, I think, or it helps us become more efficient. Does that make because I saw some stuff that said, why don't you just pick up the phone and call me? I could have given you the answer instead of you having to respond and have someone in. And so that's that's it.
Don?
Well, I might have gotten some of the same, type of emails this week, and I was so appreciative that I was superintendent who would be the person to answer the phone.
Thanks, Don.
And I
back.
wanted to touch base with everybody on their feelings about kindergarten. And the way we have to go about doing kindergarten to meet half-day and full-day people together, and what the negative impact of that is, and what we can do to improve it until we improve our model. Because if you have a morning that's going to be, pretty much like a high school morning with a couple minute break between, heavy duty academic work until one group goes home, and then not being able to touch the academic work the rest of the day, because you don't want to leave the other group behind, and you do other things that are important things to do. But it's not like what was presented tonight by Ms. Rivers and Lucy in regard to our working at soft skills that are important in that, the executive functioning skills, et cetera, which are very important at that age, and achieve the same things for the same reasons. And I want to see us work towards understanding how important it is for us to go to 100% kids in full day kindergarten, because I think, like looking at our budget or how we spend our money and the process we have and how we will procure the materials to go with the estimate of a vendor, I think we need to look at the impact of what we're doing in an honest way. And my gut feeling is that we're hurting a lot of kids differently at that age level by not having full day kindergarten for everybody. And I don't want to lose that conversation, but I want to be able to have the conversation in a public way, because I think people need to come in and listen and be a part of that conversation. I think the more they learn, the more they're going to want to see a balanced approach that treats all kids with equal care and attention to their full development, and presents it in a way that they can handle at that age. I don't think that we're able to do that in a split model.
Not disagreeing. Anybody else? Any delegates and individuals?
No.
Okay. Seeing none,
We don't need non-public.
I don't believe we do.
Okay, great.
Somebody like to make a
Make a motion to conclude the meeting at 9:10 p.m.
second by Alyssa again, gunslinger tonight. All those in favor?
I'd just like to say, Mike, that was probably one of the best run meetings I've ever seen in my life.
All those opposed? You don't have the floor, Jack? Abstentions?
Okay.
Good night.